When we spoke after the game on Saturday, I mean, clearly it's always tough immediately after the final whistle, but you were very down. And in the cold light of day, did it look any better when you reviewed the game?
Never does. What does happen to you? You sort of evolve as the week grows, you know, and you evolve into the manager that you know you inherited a good team, a good club. You brought together a group of players. You find out reasons for being beaten by Guiseley, and the reasons are there for me to see and me to understand, and we're doing something about it, and we have been doing something about it over a week, to tell you the truth. I can't, you know, if somebody said after words that I expressed after the game against Guiseley, I'd be frightened of losing the change room. They're a great bunch. They're an absolute credit to themselves. They're a credit to the club. If I can't get a tune out of them, it's my problem, you know, and I have to deal with that. But it's been a good week so far. But as you know, all good weeks can be spoiled by a result at the end of the week. That's the most important part of the week. The planning, the preparation, the game on Saturday against Needham Market. We've done a lot of research. We've probably done a little bit more homework on the opposition. I've been accused of not really understanding this league. I've been accused of not really understanding the tactics and the whereabouts and the who's and the why's and the what's of the opposition. That's because I like to focus on my own team. Is it a fault of mine? Probably. But that's what I've been looking at. I've been looking at Needham Market, studying how they play, studying what successes that they've had and what failings they've had so far this season, and see if we can exploit them, and see if we can exploit them failings. I'm sick to death of opposition managers saying how well we played and how good we are and what a great footballing team and this, that and the other. You look at the league table, football's all about league tables, and it always will be. And if you've got the strength of character, but you haven't got the ability, might do you okay down in the National League North. Strength and character, there's a lot to be said for it. It's people putting their bodies on the line. But when you've got strength of character and the ability, then ultimately it has to result in winning games. And if it doesn't, I understand what happens. But that's what we've been aiming at since Sunday, when we had the lads in. We haven't brought them in every day, which everybody expects you to. We've studied the numbers. Sports science doesn't go away. The physical effects of training doesn't go away. So we'll be ready for action on Saturday. Fighting fit with an attitude and a mentality to try and win the game.
You haven't had them in every day. Have you had them in for extra days, as it thought you would normally have them in?
Yeah, changed the routine, which is never a bad thing, in my opinion. The old saying is change is as good as a rest, and I agree with that. But again, the game is all about the numbers. You know, every manager in the top flight are talking about the physical effects of training and the physical effects of games and how many games you've got and this, that and the other. There's not many in the Premier League who'll be travelling to Needham Market on Saturday afternoon and then the following week going to Peterborough Sports and in the middle of the week having a home game against Marine. Opposition with all due respect, but the travelling distances and what you have to do, you've got to cut your cloth accordingly. We've got budgets for this kind of thing. But I've asked the players to address the situation. It isn't going to go away. Needham Market is a challenge for us on Saturday, and we won't be looking any further than that. And hopefully at 5 o'clock we'll have a nice interview, myself and yourself, after the game. We'll be talking about a win and moving on and looking forward and looking positive.
I was driving home after the game against Guiseley and thought in the first half, aside from the penalty, you had enough chances to win 2 or 3 games, if we're being honest. Second half though, aside from one Maz Kouillard effort in about 52 minutes, you didn't really trouble them, and that for me was the most worrying thing.
Well, it wasn't the most worrying thing. The most concerning thing for me was the way we abandoned the way we played. You know, we play football at Kidderminster Harriers. You know, we try to play through the lines, and if we can't, we'll try and hit Amari with quality. But we didn't. We abandoned that. That was the alarming thing for me. Amari will fight for a lost cause, as you well know. But we were just lumping balls up to him, and I felt for Amari because he'll put his body on the line as he has done already this season. But at the same time, understanding that you know, the pressures of playing for us and the target on my back, etc., just becomes bigger. Especially if you start lumping it up to, you know, your own fans will turn against you, you know, and we don't want that. We want the supporters to stay with us. But it's difficult when you're not winning. You've got to try and convince them that the way we're going will eventually turn into wins, and I think it will. But not the way we played in the second half. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and even when they lined up at the start, you only had to look at guys. If you've got 2 6-foot-plus centre-halves, lumping the ball up to Amori was not going to be a great plan, really.
It's still give as good as he gets, regardless of the...
Oh, it's no reflection on him, but...
Yeah, regardless of the height or the size of the centre-halves, but we've got to be cleverer than that, you know, we've got to have a little bit more nous than that. And I've got to say, you know, I think the Ashley Hemmings situation, when a player misses one chance, let alone 2, and then 3, 4, 5, he's got 5 glorious chances, and he knows this. And with his quality, I'd expect him to be walking away with a match ball, not being in the round for, you know, the hat for the next round in the FA Cup. He's had a smile on his face all week, Ashley Hemmings. I think with a bit of luck, we may turn a corner with him, but it's down to the lad, you know, it's down to him. It's all what's going on in Ashley Hemmings' mind, and I'm just trying to help where that's concerned. They always say management's all about psychology and man management and helping players that sometimes can't help themselves, you know. And you know, a lot of people say, we told you so about Ashley Hemmings. I'm not subscribing to that. I'm, as far as I'm concerned, I'm here to help the lad and I'm here to help the team. And when that stops, then I'll move on. But as far as I'm concerned, Ash will be playing on Saturday. There's no doubt in my mind.
You're obviously very down after the Guiseley game, and you know, the players had to have a look at themselves, is basically what you were saying. It's your squad now. Are you confident they're good enough to compete at the top of this league?
100%. 100%. A full strength Kidderminster Harriers will be pushing Scunthorpe all the way, to tell you the truth. But as you well know, we've lost key players in key positions, and not just key players, experienced players, you know, players that know what this division's all about and can play at higher levels if necessary. So that won't be easy for anybody, and I've said that before, you know, any manager anywhere in the country, in any division, it's not easy, but at the same time I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. The transfer window is still open. Supporters will just say shut up and get on with it, and that's the answer, quite simply. We're looking to strengthen, we're looking to improve. We're also trying to hurry back, shall we say, the lost causes, the missing persons, and with a bit of luck they'll be coming back in the next week or two. But you know, I don't want to rush it too quickly and then they break down again. But Ben Beresford is making good signs at the moment. Paul Downing's making good signs, and hopefully, you know, they'll cause me a headache when they come back.
In terms of the strengthening side of things, bringing in new players, is anyone likely to be in before the weekend?
No, we've got a young lad that's training with us at the moment. I can tell you his name, of course I could, but you know, we have to have permission for him to play with us. There's all sorts of things that you have to, you know, wear boxes and you have to jump through hoops these days, making sure that you do the right things, because they only pup, some of them, you know, coming from the local teams, you know, the big boys, the Villas, the Wolves, the West Broms, and you're trying to help in their careers and help them progress, hopefully, in life. So we've got 1 or 2 that are working with us, and fingers crossed we can do something where that's concerned. But at the moment, we've got what we got for Saturday and the ensuing 2 games as well.
I saw Needham Market earlier in the season. I suspect when you go there, they think if we try and play open football against Kidderminster, we could get murdered. Are you going to have to be patient, because that you might have to break them down?
Yeah, we've had a couple of videos watched this afternoon about the exploits against South Shields, where they blew them out the park in the first half and then had to sit back and take whatever South Shields were throwing at them. But again, looking at South Shields in terms of style of football, people say they're very, very similar to Kidderminster Harriers. Shields had to abandon that and go route one and try and get into a striker. It's very difficult when you're doing that at half time. We've got a game plan, and hopefully it'll be a game plan that will work against a Needham Market team that will be very stubborn, I would imagine, very resilient. There's questions about full press, whether they sit off, etc., but that happens in every game of football. You know, if you start a game and you expect a full press and it doesn't come your way, then have the ball and compose yourself and try and get a little bit of quality in the final third. That's the game plan, and you know the hardest part of the game plan is making sure that everybody understands it. And I mean not 1 to 11, you know, 12 to 22 as well, just in case. And I think possibly 1 or 2 took the eye off the ball last week. Hence the reason why I said what I said after the game on Sunday. When I don't particularly pick a team on personality, you know, my personality and their personality. I pick a team on ability, understanding, experience, quality, all the things that a manager wants from an individual. So if you're not in that 11, you've got to have the qualities to try and get into that 11. Now, whether that's qualities in terms of how you play or train, or the mentality of you as an individual. And when you're given an opportunity, and them opportunities could be 5 minutes in a game of football, you've got to grab them opportunities, you know. When you don't, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're not doing me a disservice, but I'm the one who suffers. So when I made 4 subs on Saturday, and not one of them had an impact on the game, that was the disappointing part of it for me. If one, I could understand it, but it's almost like they weren't prepared for it. Or it's almost like they disrespected the competition or disrespected the opposition. That ain't good enough for me. As far as I'm concerned, we're representing Kidderminster every minute of every day at this moment in time until further notice. And if you don't, you're on your way. It doesn't get as simple as that.
You obviously managed in the Premier League in the past, you know all about pressure. We know here the league form hasn't been great of late, you're out the cup. Are you under pressure to get a result at Needham Market in your own mind?
In my own mind, I'm under pressure to get a result any game, any match that we play, whether it be a reserve game behind closed doors, or whether it be Needham Market on a Sunday, or whether it be in the FA Cup. Nothing changes as far as I'm concerned. How we deal with the pressure is the most important part. If the players see a manager thinking that it's his last game or whatever, you've got no chance. You've got to treat each game with the respect it deserves, and if you don't, you shouldn't be in the game.
And final point, Guiseley, did you pick up any more knocks, or are they still pretty hale and hearty generally?
No, we didn't pick up any more. We had a little scare where Malik Carrigan was concerned during the week, but it was more fatigue than anything else where his hamstring was concerned, hence the numbers, and we decided to rest 1 or 2 during the week. But no other scares. Hopefully that treatment room will be emptying soon, and that'll be probably my biggest Christmas present, along with the missus who's pregnant at the moment. So Christmas is going to come a little bit early for me, and hopefully it'll start on Saturday.
Well, I was going to say, you're going to have a very busy November football-wise in terms of fixtures. You've got an even busy one at the same time.
Well, you know, life's all about living, isn't it? You know, whether it be football or whether it be the family or whatever. I'm just looking forward to it.